Hey you, let's talk about how we made the animated short Boba Blues, also known as a squash and stretch love letter, to the Star Wars galaxy and one special guy in particular, Boba Fett. See, that's funny because squash and stretch is one of the 12 principles of animation that Walt Disney came up with, and you're probably gonna cut this off. I'm Dave and welcome to Make for Others, where we grow the talents we've been given by making for others and encourage you to do the same. Now, if you're like me, Star Wars is a part of your childhood. And I don't remember a time when I didn't want an X-Wing, or the Millennium Falcon, or R2-D2 as a best friend, which may explain why I've made 2 of the 3. Anyway, I've always enjoyed Star Wars, always wanted a lightsaber, and always wondered what happened to Boba Fett after he fell into the Sarlacc Pit. I mean, come on. You're telling me that the best and most feared bounty hunter in the galaxy dies by getting accidentally knocked off a desert skiff by a visually impaired groggy smuggler? No, I never believed that. There's gotta be more to the story. What happened to Boba? Side note, people sometimes said that I look like Harrison Ford, except for the face. But as I got older and the responsibilities of life added up, I forgot about this burning question. Until my son wanted to be Boba Fett for Halloween. While we were making that costume, he asked those same questions I had during my impressionable, extroverted, and optimistic early years. And I didn't have any answers for him that would satisfy the deep-seated yearning for clarity and resolution that our Western civilization desires. But I did have an idea. So I called my friend Jim and said, Jim, what if we made a short cartoon that showed what we think happened to Boba Fett after he fell into the Sarlacc Pit? Jim said,
I'm in. Who's Boba Fett? What's the Sarlacc Pit?
See, Jim had a different childhood than me. He watched Star Wars, he just didn't memorize all the details. The challenge is both of us have limited time, and animation can take a lot of time. But we knew if we just kept on working on it, we'd eventually have something we were proud of making. We started by getting all of our ideas out of our heads. Every single idea, no matter how random. Now, not all ideas are winners. In fact, a lot of them can be stinkers at first. But at this point, we didn't worry about that. Some of those ideas got organized into a short outline of main story beats, which eventually became a script with more details and dialogue, followed by quickly drawn sketches that roughly visualized the story for pacing. That eventually became an animatic with pew pew, temporary sound effects, and voice talent. And while that looks like a pretty straightforward process, each one of those steps was redone many times, and things changed a lot. When I was a kid and reading everything I could about animation, Walt Disney was attributed to calling this revision process plussing, where basically everyone involved in the process of making something had an opportunity to improve it with their unique skills and abilities. And if everyone did that, by the end of the process, the cartoon, or the movie, or the theme park, or whatever would be so much better than the original idea. Because teamwork makes the dream work. I know that's kind of corny, but you know what else I know? All right, I'm corny. But I think there's just about 140 million people in this country that are just as corny as I am. So if Mr. Walt Disney didn't worry about other people thinking he was corny, I'm not going to either. Anyway, Jim and I kept that idea of plussing in mind by continually asking, how can we make this better? And that didn't always mean adding stuff. Sometimes things got removed so the story would flow better, or the imagery would be easier to follow, or a joke got pulled so the next joke would land better. Like Dank Farrik.
Dank Farrik.
That line would be funny if you're familiar enough with Star Wars to know that it's a phrase that's been said before.
Dank Farrik, that was close.
Dank Farrik.
Dank Farrik.
Dank Farrik.
But if you don't know that, then it's distracting from the flow of this very short story. So it got cut and we went in a different direction that would be more clear to the whole audience. The challenge is managing the tension of taking extra time to make something better and getting it done. Because like a lot of creative ideas, things could be at least a little bit better or just a little bit different. And if you're not careful, you'll end up with a never-ending project that no one ever gets to experience. So we gave deadlines to specific tasks so that the project would finish. Now some of those deadlines did change because of work or family stuff, but the goal was always to move forward. Once we got the animatic to where we wanted, it became a roadmap to developing all the required assets, like character designs, backgrounds, color palettes, props, dialogue, music, and sound effects. All kinds of fun stuff. So while Jim was creating, rigging, and animating characters, I was drawing environments and assets. Just like every other step, we'd review the work and talk through changes. And then, in the middle of all of this, my son and I started watching The Mandalorian. It's a little show you may have heard about. It is so good, and watching it felt like a time machine back to memories of my childhood, when Dad would make me lightsabers by wrapping colored paper around the end of a flashlight. So much fun. I don't have any pictures of the lightsabers because they would only last about 5 minutes, but it was always an awesome 5 minutes. Anyway, we really enjoy The Mandalorian. And when that's when Jim and I set an immovable, absolute deadline for ourselves to finish the cartoon. So we developed our final to-do list and spent the past year checking stuff off of it. One of those things was recording friends doing character voices. And because of a global issue at the time, we got creative with how we got that audio.
I have spoken.
Unlimited power. What is with all the hands getting chopped? And you get your butt back to the temple.
Avengers. What was that?
Ah, looks like intellectual property cross-promotion.
Hey, Dominic, I have spoken.
That was like a Godfather.
I know.
You Godfather that one. Imagine getting hit by a coffee cup that bends time and space. Yeah. That's about right.
I'm gonna run around the court one time.
You do you need to.
And I'm gonna come right back here and do this again.
Okay.
All right.
Final touches were music and sound effects. And here we are, with an animated short about Boba Fett. Now in most episodes, I share the things that I've learned to help and encourage you. And the main one with this project is if you want to do something for yourself or others and it feels overwhelming, whether it's learning to draw or making someone a gift or developing healthy habits, whatever. Start by breaking the goal down into small enough steps that you can see a first step you could take, and then do it. And if that first step doesn't go well, give yourself grace and congratulations for attempting, and then try it again, or go with a different first step. Now your steps are going to depend on your situation. For us, it was Jim and I having a conversation. For you, it could be something like researching in a library, so you can find out more about whatever you want to do, and figure out what a first, second, third, and all the steps could look like. Don't forget that it probably won't be a straight path, and it could also be challenging. But you're never going to do what you want for yourself or others if you don't start somewhere. Now, hopefully you enjoyed Boba Blues, but even more importantly, leave a note in the comments the thing that you want to do and the first step you're going to take. Regardless, grow the unique talents that you've been given and make for others.